Star Wars fans rejoiced on Friday when Slash Film reported that Rosario Dawson will be playing a live-action version of Ahsoka Tano. However, even more news has been coming out about the incredible possibilities connected to her appearance, including the fact that Ezra Bridger may also show up in the show, and that this appearance by Ahsoka might backdoor into a solo Ahsoka TV series. We gotta break it all down. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Star Wars Sunday to you if you are watching this video on Sunday, and if not, no big deal, but you should know we drop dope Star Wars videos every single Sunday. Now, there's a lot of stuff I want to get into in this video. I want to talk about the reports from Friday, some of the fallout that happened over the past couple of days, and some of the new information about Ezra Bridger and a potential Ahsoka solo TV series. We'll get into all of that and speculate, but first, I just want to address the people out there that are talking about how this is a rumor and are sort of trying to get everybody else to sort of calm down and not get too invested in Rosario Dawson as being Ahsoka Tano. And to those people, I would say I completely understand wanting to be cautious. I totally understand that this is not Disney officially confirming it, but many trades have corroborated this story. At this point, I just think it would be really weird if this actually didn't happen. I don't view this as a rumor. First of all, Slash Film broke this as an exclusive, and both Variety and Deadline have confirmed it. Deadline actually confirmed it without even giving Slash Film credit for the original scoop, which is making people go crazy on Twitter, but whatever. There's also the fact that the Hollywood Reporter and many people at the Hollywood Reporter have come forward to confirm this. And so I don't consider this rumor at all. You could say that it's been reported that this is happening and it hasn't been officially confirmed by Disney, and that would be a totally fair statement. But I mean, think about it, guys. Disney is super late to the party as far as confirming things in general. We knew about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and when it was being developed as a movie way before Disney officially revealed anything. In fact, that moment at D23 late last year where they brought Ewan McGregor out there onto the stage, that was the first time Disney actually acknowledged that there is even an Obi-Wan Kenobi anything happening, and yet we knew about it for years. I'm personally giving this a 99.9% chance of happening. Of course, there's some weird thing that could happen and Rosario wouldn't be cast as Ahsoka Tano, but right now there's just way too much evidence out there that's saying that she will be Ahsoka Tano. And we're not talking about little independent websites, bloggers, or dirty YouTubers like me. We're talking about legit people in the industry that have come forward and said, yeah, that Slash Film scoop, I checked it out, totally real. Now, getting into some of the new information that came out ever since Slash Film broke that exclusive, one of the most interesting pieces to me is regarding the character of Ezra Bridger. Now, this comes from Grace Randolph over at Beyond the Trailer, who has a pretty good history with scoops and definitely has inside sources. And one of the things she said in her video that was so wild to me was that she heard that Ezra Bridger is also coming to live action with Ahsoka in The Mandalorian Season 2. And although Grace mentions the fact that Sabine could be there, she has not heard anything about Sabine actually being in the show, which is odd to me. Sabine feels like way more of a fit for what's going on in the story with Din Djarin and the child than even Ezra Bridger. But I mean, look, we'll get to speculation towards the end of the video. I'm a huge Rebels fan, love Ezra Bridger, so I'm definitely going to nerd out about what I think they're going to do with this character in just a bit. Now, let's talk about some of the other things that are being reported kind of surrounding this story, right? It's just crazy. People coming out of the woodworks with a lot of different things. Some of it I just didn't know was going on. Well, apparently there's a lot of rumors that suggest that this Rebels sequel show, which looks to be sort of the search for Ezra with Sabine and Ahsoka, that show will correlate or tie into the appearance of Ahsoka and Ezra Bridger in The Mandalorian Season 2. Now, that is just a rumor. In fact, that whole animated show, this Rebels sequel, that is a big rumor as well, even though now some of the trades are talking about it as though it's a little more viable. That has only been confirmed by people like Kessel Run Transmissions, Jason Ward over at MakingStarWars.net, and Jeremy Conrad from both MCU Cosmic and Star Wars Unity. Now, I trust all of those people, and I checked with my sources, particularly about Kessel Run Transmissions because they're kind of newer on the scene. They're all the way legit, so I believe that, but I'd be more apt to call that a rumor than this whole Ahsoka business. Now, it also seems, according to Grace Randolph, but a lot of other people as well, that the appearance of Ahsoka and Ezra Ezra will only be for one episode in Season 2. And the last piece of sort of official rumorage or what people are talking about out there is this whole idea that Ahsoka coming into live action in The Mandalorian will actually backdoor her into a lot of other properties, perhaps her own Disney Plus show or a Disney Plus show that heavily focuses on the Ahsoka character. There's the potential for Ahsoka Tano to show up in movies down the line, which is something that Grace Randolph talked about. And that's where really a lot of this is coming from. It's coming from The Hollywood Reporter, who confirmed the scoop, but also talked about how they think it could backdoor Ahsoka into her own series. And then Grace Randolph, who literally said in her scoop that she heard that Rosario Dawson has signed a huge deal that will put her not only in that show, but in a lot of other live action Star Wars stuff. So your mileage may vary as far as how much you're going to buy into these different things. And I understand the people out there being cautious and not wanting to, have too much faith, to not have their hearts broken if it doesn't happen. I totally get you people. I get it. I understand. But that is all of the news that is out there, right? Grace had her scoop. The Hollywood Reporter talked about this. Variety and Deadline talked about this. I mean, at this point, it's totally happening. It's totally a real thing. It's totally happening. And some of this other stuff with Ezra and the single appearance and then spinning out into live action, that's a little less obvious to me, but still really cool stuff. So let us know what you think about the official news about that. But now, I gotta just nerd out about this for a little bit. This is fan-freaking-tastic. Number one, I'm gonna lose my mind when I see Ezra Bridger in live action in The Mandalorian Season 2. I'm really hoping that's true. Am I maybe buying way too much into it because I'm just a super fanboy of Ezra? Probably. But either way, I can't wait, and I really hope it happens. And strangely enough, I actually think Pedro Pascal would have been a perfect casting for Ezra. Ezra comes from Lothal, but the way he's presented in the show is that he's definitely dark-skinned. So it reminds me of some almost like Persian or something like that. Now, of course, it's fictional, but I assume they will cast someone who is of an ethnic background that's some kind of a dark-skinned person to be Ezra Bridger. I also think he'll be much older than the last time we saw him. I think he was getting to be 19 or 20 around the end of Rebels, and I believe this will be at least 7 years, perhaps even a decade later from when we see him head out with the Purrgil and Thrawn. Now, again, there's rumors that this Search for Ezra show will be the new animated show, which will come out later this year as well. And if they truly connect those two shows together, man, that's just some mind-blowing stuff. Again, sort of that MCU stuff that I've been talking about. People get all butthurt when I say the Star Wars MCU is coming, but that's literally what it is. They're trying to do that connective tissue the same way that Marvel Studios does, and I think this would be a brilliant way to get started with that. I really hope that Ezra is a little bit more grizzled because he spent some time with Thrawn, but if he's hanging out with Ahsoka again, he will definitely and definitively be on the light side. He won't be drawn to the dark side, because even though we don't know a lot about Ahsoka the White, which is this just crazy version of Ahsoka that we see in the epilogue of Rebels, we have to assume that she has some kind of new Force abilities, perhaps some new insight into the Force itself, and dressing in all white is just a classic trope of sort of being more purified, being closer to God in some ways. And so I can see the Ahsoka that we will be seeing in Mandalorian being this super wise, very powerful Force being that will be teaching Ezra even more about the Force and definitely solidifying him to be on the light side. Now, I am frankly confused as to why Sabine isn't really mentioned in a lot of these different reports. Again, I think she would just be perfect for The Mandalorian. I mean, we just saw the Darksaber. The last time we saw it, she was giving it to Bo-Katan. Obviously, Din Djarin being a Mandalorian and the Purge and all this crazy stuff that apparently happened to Mandalore after the Battle of Endor is perfect. It is a perfect way to sort of combine the story of Din Djarin with the story of Sabine Wren. Sabine will want Mandalore to be restored to its former glory, as would Din Djarin. So it's really interesting. I want to see how those characters will interact, and I'm a bit confused as to why Sabine isn't mentioned more. Why wouldn't they go that route? And really, when you consider that a lot of the reports right now are just talking about how this is going to be a single episode that we see Ahsoka and Ezra in, there's really only one of two options going on. Either number one, Ezra and Ahsoka show up at the very end of The Mandalorian Season 2 and they sort of join the story and help Din Djarin and the child maybe defeat Moff Gideon, maybe help the planet of Mandalore or something like that. Or number two, their paths are just crossing for a split second, and there will be like some cross-pollination of the stories. Maybe Ezra and Ahsoka could help Din Djarin discover where the child's family is from, where to take Baby Yoda to go be with the rest of the Yoda species. But that's basically it. They're either joining stories, and then they'll be joining stories to move forward into season 3, or they're just having their stories cross paths, and there will be some sort of cross-pollination between the two of them, because Din Djarin is not just going to give the baby up. For all intents and purposes, that is his child now, according to Mandalorian law, and so he's going to follow that creed. That's now his baby. There's no way he's just going to give it up to Ezra or Ahsoka. However, there could be a scenario in which Ahsoka and Ezra part some wisdom on Din Djarin. They allow him to have further insight on how to handle the child, how to teach him the ways of the Force, or things like that. Now, there's a ton to speculate about here and theorize as far as how this is all going to fit together, but I truly believe that the main focus of the fact that Moff Gideon wants the child, he has the Darksaber, he's clearly looking to consolidate his power and perhaps even become the new emperor of the Empire. It's potential for all sorts of craziness. Maybe Moff Gideon just wants the child to raise him as sort of a dark side servant. Maybe he wants to take some of the genetic material out of the child and infuse himself to become Force sensitive. Maybe Moff Gideon is already Force sensitive. He's looking to enhance his Force powers by sucking out the blood or DNA of the child. All sorts of crazy things that could be going on, and it's going to be interesting to see how Ahsoka and Ezra interact with this story. Is the Force itself bringing them together with the child to stop some great horrific thing from happening? Will we see all of these characters join together, overthrow Gideon, and reestablish Mandalore as a planet, grow its people back up, and sort of help support the new Mandalorians? All of these things and more are possible, and I definitely want to know your thoughts about this. We will continue to follow this story and to do cool theory videos and speculative videos about this, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of that. Now I want to shout out IR Crafty. Indeed, it was Bo-Katan that Sabine gave the Darksaber to at the end of Star Wars Rebels. So shout out to you, IR Crafty. And now let's ask another nerd card question before we get out of here. I want to know, what was Palpatine trying to get Ezra Bridger to do at the end of Star Wars Rebels? There's a very specific thing that Palpatine was trying to get Ezra to do. Obviously, Ezra didn't do it, or it would have been horrible for the galaxy. What was Palpatine trying to get Ezra Bridger to do in Star Wars Rebels? Answer that question in the comments section below. Again, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you smash like. If you want to support us in this really weird time in the world and this really weird time on YouTube, share this video out to some people that you think might be interested in it. Or you could check out our Patreon for some behind-the-scenes content. Join the listed names of awesome people you see below me. And there's also some crazy videos that you can check out over here. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.